welcome to another episode of After 30 with Cara Eriguel. Super excited to have this guest with me on the show today. Napakaganda niya ngayon. Fresh na fresh. Blooming na blooming. O, diba? But also, I've been wanting to have her on the show. And finally, she's here with us. A very good friend of mine. She is the co-founder and managing director of the country's first full production live streaming agency, Shoppertainment Live. Everybody, please welcome Neri-Soyao.
Hello. Hi. Good to be here.
Hello.
See you
First
and
time ko
hear you,
mag-record
Cara.
ng video. So, we're gonna post this. Hi! Oh,
It's
diba? Fresh na
you.
fresh.
A
I
while.
miss you. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I know busy ka sa trabaho at maging wife. Nakikita ko ang mga luto-luto mo and everything. I love it. You're super all around. So, guys, Yas is a very good friend of mine. She is a co-worker that turned into a really good friend. I worked with her in O Shopping for almost 7 years. She is also like I will always remember her as an enabler. Pagdating sa mga shopping, every time na nagsha-shop kami at nagpupunta kami sa Korea and everything, mamumulubi ako, in short, pagkasama ko siya. Yes. Kumusta ka
Same.
naman?
Same.
Kumusta naman ang online shopping mo lately?
Ayun. Sobrang madami. De iba-iba for the home, minsan for fashion. It's just this way for you to really release your stresses. I mean, it's been really hard lately with all these things happening around. So
Yeah.
it's good to have a little bit of a great package, and when you open it, this is so cute or this is so lovely. So it makes you happy even for a while.
Meron kang little high, di ba, of purchasing it,
Correct.
forgetting that you actually paid for it, and then it arriving at your door, and you're like, wow! A package for me?
Parang ano pa surprise na surprise na may package. Ano
Ah,
yung nasa laman? Nasa loob nito?
ang saya. But, okay, so can I just say, I really admire you to bits. You are, from the moment I met you, you were a girl boss and you've made things really work for you. And I'm so, so proud of you. And you build this business from the ground up with your husband, Pat Soyao, who also has a new podcast here on Podcast Network Asia. Check it out, you guys. So, again, this is the country's first full production live streaming agency, which he put up in 2019. Tama?
Yep.
How did you guys, I'm just curious, like, how did you guys come up with, diba, you were newly married, super freshly married at the time. Paano nyo napag-isipan na itong industriya na to yung papasukin ninyo?
Well, it really started with my backstory, I think. Being in O Shopping for 5 years, understanding what the retail and broadcast media is at the same time. And then when I shifted to the back end, not just, being on camera, nakita ko yung mga opportunities in digital. So when I worked as a manager in ABS-CBN, I also got trained with all the digital. And when I saw an opportunity for e-commerce, my husband had a contact who connected us all together and created this new live stream shopping um, business. So it was a trend in China back in 2015, and we saw that this is something that's going to happen here in the Philippines. And we started it right away when we saw that Lazada and Shopee already created their live streaming tools inside the e-commerce. Ayun.
Mm-mm.
So everything just fell into place. And I think different opportunities and choices that happened way back, nag-make sense siya. Ganon.
Diba? Ang galing nga. Which is why, when I thought of this um topic, I've been wanting to talk to you. I've been wanting to guest you on the podcast for so many reasons, diba? So many things we can talk about. We can talk for hours, right? But I found that the perfect thing to talk about now is ito nga making your mess your message. Because I mean, I haven't known you for so long now. We weren't friends for like 10 years or more than that, diba? But for the amount of time that I've known you, ang dami na nating mga napag-usapan, ang dami ng mga mess na napagdaanan nating dalawa together, 'di ba? Na napapagkwentuhan natin at work or when we go to Korea for a week every month before, 'di ba? And you're right. Thank you for saying that. That parang everything just fell into place, and that is exactly the what we're talking about now is making your mess your message. So you've done a lot. You were an actress. You are a host. You did shopping. You're a writer. You did production work as well. Now, at this point in your life, what can you say was the driving force in all those paths that you've taken that led you to where you are now? What
I
was and is your purpose?
I really love media. I really want to make a difference in it. I really wanted to change some culture. I really wanted to contribute something different to the whole industry. I don't know why. Ever since I was a kid, I just love media. I love TV. I love listening to the radio, going on the internet. Not necessarily just being on camera, but the whole system, the whole process. I really love it. So it's just I think that innate drive to do something different and to make an impact in the industry that you love. That's it.
When did you realize that you wanted first to be on cam? Like be an actress or be a performer? Nalala mo?
Well, ever since I was a kid, I really liked parang performing. When my dad would tell me to sing, then I would sing. If my dad would tell me to, go to this workshop for acting, then I would.
Mm.
Maybe those little things that made me happy as a kid, yun din yung parang root kung ba't ako naging actress at a certain point. But I never really expected to be a professional actress. I just liked doing it. And
Mm.
then things fell into place and then opportunities happened. So there, I just grabbed the opportunity and did some jobs as an actor.
So after having been through all of that, now in your 30s, okay lang naman sabihin natin in your 30s ka na, no? Wala naman na tayong hinahide. Dati kasi meron mga ganun, di ba? Pag VTR, how old are you? The truth or my stage age? Ngayon na, embrace na natin ang ating age.
So
But now at this in your 30s, did it change? Did the purpose change at all?
not really, not the purpose. I think the purpose is the same. It's really to make an impact in the industry, but the task
Mhm.
changed. From being an on-camera person, I also saw the beauty and was also fascinated with the back end and also the business behind it. So I got into those different aspects of the industry, and yeah, I think the purpose is the same, but it's really just the
Mhm.
task.
Mm-mm. Right. Good thing. You're consistent with your purpose, and that is the goal. So we've had one too many conversations about changing careers. If you remember, di ba, ang dami natin mga usapan before gym, after gym, habang nagsha-shopping tayo sa Korea, habang nawala-lost tayo sa Myeongdong. Di ba? Changing careers, what to do with our lives, relationships even. Um, let's just say we were a bit of a mess a little over 3 years ago. But we would not be here if not for those messes. 'Di ba? Sabi nga nila, everything that you've been through has prepared you for this season in your life. 'Di ba? For this season in our lives right now. What for you is your biggest takeaway from the heartbreak and the mess that you were in before your life changed in 2018?
Dami eh. Hindi ka saksaw. Well, ano
Go!
siya, it's a malaking self-realization about things that you really want to do with your life and what should you not tolerate as well. If there are some red flags, definitely these red flags are more visible to me. Before kasi you have this parang, oh, try to understand the person more kasi love mo siya, ganyan. You have these rose-colored, what do you call that? Parang,
Glasses, rose-colored
yeah,
glasses.
rose-colored glasses, ganyan. Hindi mo nakikita yung truth. Ngayon, parang, you know, you know the consequences when you put those glasses on. And if you're not careful, and the truth hurts, but you will learn from it. Mas naging independent din ako in terms of decision making, and also mas naging intentional with what you want to do with your life. Sometimes, before kasi I was very idealistic in terms of all the dreams and visions that I wanted, which is good. You have visions, you have dreams, but how do you make these things happen? How do you do it? And sometimes it's not really something big. Kasi iniisip natin, ang laki-laki ng dream ko, kailangan ko gumawa rin ng isang malaking hakbang. Hindi pala. You just have to take one step. That one step sometimes can be hard. And that was leaving my freelance lifestyle. It was so comfortable kasi wala, I can do whatever I wanted. I direct my own schedules, ganyan.
Mm-mm.
But what I needed to do and understand is structure. If I wanted to create something big, I need to understand structure so that it's sustainable. And it was very humbling. I had to go through corporate to understand it more. I know that there are a lot of people also na from corporate tapos nag-shift to freelance or creating their own business. But for me, I think what was lacking was that certain structure
Structure.
and humbling myself from that freedom that I had, and then following someone's command or someone's vision to make things happen. And with that, I would say I was trained very well. It was difficult, humbling, also mahirap, sobrang hirap.
Mm-mm.
I also came to a point wherein it was a big failure na rin. Um, I was given this opportunity to create this brand, this
Mm-mm.
platform. And eventually I wasn't able to reach a KPI that was needed for the business to make it sustainable. So they closed it down. Sakit yun ah. Ang sakit-sakit
Oo
nun.
naman. Oo.
Yung binigyan ka ng opportunity tapos hindi mo siya nagawa ng maayos.
Mm-mm.
And you would tend to blame other people, blame the situation, blame things that you weren't able to get as resources. But at the end of the day, it's you. It's owning your failure. It's owning the fact that you weren't ready and you just did it anyway. And even if you did it anyway, yes, you've learned, but that certain task still didn't succeed. Maybe moving
Uh-huh.
forward, it would be better. So yon, I didn't sweep it under the rug after that whole experience. I really reflected, thought about the things that failed and why did it fail. And from there, parang I created the plan of maybe this is how we should do it next time. Yun, and then opportunities came, the right people came. My husband also supported that idea of creating a shopping network. And we
Mm-mm.
saw an opportunity on e-commerce. That's why we're here. That's why it happened. Yun.
I
Things
love
will
the way
fall.
your mind works. I know exactly. Things will fall into place. And I love how you said, all those
But
failures, on all those pains, you didn't sweep it under the rug. You
hindi,
instead you
hindi
used it.
talaga. Oh, parang, yes, things will fall into place, but you have to be intentional in making it fall into place. Because things will fall into place, but if you don't realize the direction or the pieces of the puzzle that would lead you to the right path, then it's
Oo.
nothing. They're just fallen pieces. Diba?
Oo.
Yun siya.
Iba naman yung nakaupo ka lang tapos everything will fall into place, di ba? Ang laking difference nun na trinabaho mo siya, nag-fail ka. Oo, nag-fail ka, but maybe this just wasn't the right fit, 'di ba? Sabi nga nila, rejection is just redirection. 'Di ba? It doesn't necessarily mean you're not good or you're not good enough. It's redirecting you to another route. Maybe this is a better route for you. 'Di ba? And that's what I
Sometimes
see.
it's also as it is.
Mhm.
Parang not necessarily hindi ka fit. Baka at that time, yes, fit ka.
Hindi ka pa ready.
Pero hindi ka na nag-fit after some time. Kumbaga, it's either lumaki ka or masyadong
Mm.
lumaki yung butas. Ewan ko, pero meron pa ring point na magtutugma.
Oo.
Kaya no regrets in everything. Be it
True.
a failure or a heartache or a mistake. Diba?
Gusto ko yan. Gusto ko yung no regrets attitude. This is why we're friends. Hindi, totoo. Kasi, yun nga failures and all these things can really bring you down. It can question your ability, di ba? Yung capacity mo, ano ba talaga ako, ano ba yung worth ko, ganyan. But if you see it as a teaching, di ba, a teaching tool for you to grow, more space for you to learn more, baka hindi ka pa ganun kagaling sa larangan na to, or baka mas magaling ka sa ibang larangan na to. It doesn't mean that, oh, you failed. That's it. 'Di ba? May moments kasi na ganun talaga eh. I'm sure you also have those moments. Structured as you are, you're very 'di ba? Solutions based ka. Like there's a problem, okay, kailangan nating hanapan ng solusyon. You make plans and stuff. But what about those times where you feel like parang wala ka nang mapanghawakan? How have you dealt with those moments?
Just go through the pain, write it down. Kung ano nararamdaman mo. Tsaka bakit may pain, saan galing. And then just let it happen. Give yourself time. You don't have to do anything. Kasi, 'di ba, in order for you to get an insight, you really need to take time. You really need to forgive yourself and also be gentle. Kasi the more na parang pinipilit mo magkaroon ng solusyon kaagad, the more na mas pinapressure mo yung sarili mo. And baka hindi lumabas dun yung best. Or masyadong hasty lahat. So ano lang, take your time. Go through it. Go through the pain. It's okay. Admit your mistake. Admit that you're vulnerable. Admit that you're not that you failed at that point. But again, when you fail, it's always good to do it with reflection on why. Because from there, you'll slowly accept it. At first, you won't. Ang hirap eh. Kasi pag nag-fail ka, parang human, ano ba, instinct na i-blame mo siya sa ibang tao. And kasi hindi ako nabigyan ng ganito. Kasi yung mga tao ganyan. Kasi yung kultura ganito. Pero at the end of the day, ikaw, yung buhay mo yung involved dun sa situation na yon, and meron ka pa rin kahit papanong contribution dun sa failure na yon. So, when you reflect and you write down all of these things why it failed, you'll realize the things that you can own up.
If I remember correctly, gusto ko tong writing down ha. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ikaw yung nagsabi sa akin to write a letter. Write a letter to God and tell him what I'm really looking for in a man. Was that you?
I think so.
Does it sound like
guess,
something you would say? Parang ikaw yung nagsabi sa akin nun eh. I remember that. Parang we were eating in this Chinese restaurant in Techno Hub after gym. Tapos nagchichikahan tayo. Tapos parang galing akong heartbreak or whatever. Or pabalik-balik na naman ako sa isang bad relationship. And you just said something like, you have to know what it is that you really want in a man. Write it down in a letter and be specific, and God will give it to you. You said, and I like yung writing down because it really does, yung pen to paper, di ba? Mind, hand, pen to paper. It does something, di ba? Yung physicality nun mismo with your brain and your emotions. Writing it down will not only make you like be able to read it or remember it. It's really yung the act, even the act of it, di ba? It's like a completely acknowledging the feeling and making it tangible so you can do something about it. I love that. O ngayon, every time may mafe-feel ako, isusulat ko na siya. Nagjo-journal naman ako. Kailangan ko na siyang isulat. How do you feel, and bakit may pain, bakit may hurt? Gusto ko yung sinabi mo na yon. Bakit may pain? Kasi usually nagsa-stop na tayo dun sa masakit or galit ako. Galit ako sa'yo kasi hindi mo ginawa to. Or hurt ako kasi sinabi mo sa akin di ako worthy or whatever. That's usually just the surface, 'di ba? Gusto ko yung sinabi mo na bakit may pain. Merong mas malalim na ibig sabihin and that's what you need to deal with. 'Di ba?
Sometimes it's also a false idea of yourself. Um, maybe you think of yourself as like this, or you have this, or you're able to do this. But the pain comes from the fact that you couldn't, diba? And
Mhm.
it's okay. Parang there you get to have a grounded sense of self, of who you really are, and it humbles you. And from there you can do something about it if you want to, or
Yeah.
not. But it's your
Ikaw
choice.
bahala.
Ikaw bahala if you want to do something about it.
Yeah. Yun lang yun, ano. Parang, minsan talaga, wala, ikaw lang din eh. You're the only you can control what you can do about a certain situation or how you deal with failure or a pain that you're going through. Either you deal with it or you let it consume you. Um, but so one thing that I really, really love about you, and I've said this earlier on, is your hunger and your drive. Like you've always really inspired me with that. You had a business when you were in college, diba? You're very driven. And your drive to make a difference and to follow your purpose. It was never about achieving. You wanted to reach out and make a difference. And that's something you also said earlier. But was there ever a point where you felt completely defeated, afraid, and you wanted to give up? Like, wag na lang. Was there ever a fear of starting something because you were afraid to fail?
Yes. Yes, of course. But the only way for you to understand is to fail. Even if parang the only way for you to overcome that fear of failure is to fail. Because you would never really understand it till you're there. So it
Yeah.
makes you human. And it makes you more relatable as a human too. Because even
Yeah.
if you paint the perfect picture or you project something perfect, um, at the end of the day, parang is that perfect something that would make people understand better? Or ano lang, parang, ano ba?
Para magustuhan ka lang nila at isipin nilang
Parang
you've got it all together. Yun
yun.
yun eh.
Oh, siguro yun din yung why I wanted to go out of just being an actress. Because I felt like as an actress before, I was given scripts, I was given a role to play, I was given this certain how I should be
Mm.
from the management, ganyan. But I knew that there was something more apart from role playing. So I wanted to
Yep.
break out of it and see the other side. How is it really
Yeah.
like?
Parang
Yun.
there was always like every time we would talk, like you did very well in all those things that you were doing at the time, 'di ba? But every time nag-uusap tayo, merong parang may kulang. Yun yung naaalala kong what I took from, our conversations was that you were happy with what you were doing. You were doing great, but parang something wasn't being fulfilled. And I think all those things that you've done, you went through, you weren't afraid to fail. You did fail. We all do, 'di ba? And you used all of those to create something with your now husband. Parang everything really fell into place. 'Di ba? You found the perfect person who would also complement um the thing that you wanted to do, your purpose. Who complemented your purpose. Ang saya. Ang
Yay.
saya-saya. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. So, okay. So, in that season of your life, going back when you were figuring things out, can you share with us what worked and what did not work? Ano yung what has those mistakes and wins taught you so far? Dun muna tayo sa what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah. What worked is to open up to friends, real friends, and really be vulnerable to them. Yeah,
Mhm.
that worked. What worked was to also take one simple step that you can do to make that goal happen. So for me, I wanted to create a business. And one step for me to do it was to understand structure. That's why I entered the corporate.
Mm-mm.
So that's one step. Another thing that happened was what worked?
Doesn't have to be
Having,
a lot. Again, sorry.
having, having an open mind and unlearning what you've learned. Because when you feel that you've learned some things, parang nasa stifle ka mag-learn ng new things dahil feeling mo, alam mo na to.
Mm-mm.
So you have to unlearn things, even attitudes, even the way you relate with other people. You have to unlearn it. Because some people are different, cultures are changing, beliefs are changing, so you just have to be open. Yeah,
You have
unlearning
to
things.
adapt. Gusto ko yung unlearning. Kasi marami sa atin, yun yung weakness nga yun 'di ba? It's how ironic is that people always say, alam ko na yan. Di, alam ko kasi ganito eh. Hindi ganyan yan. Alam ko yan. Kinalakihan ko ganyan eh. Ganyan. 'Di ba? Appearing to be strong when in fact, it's a weaker trait when you're so closed-minded, when you're so decided that this is the only and right way to do things, and you're not willing to adapt. 'Di ba? You're not willing to unlearn.
Yep.
I like dots. So, okay, your mess is your message. I love it. I really love this. I love this phrase. It really stuck with me because it's also something that I keep reminding myself. Diba, why do I do this? Why do I do the podcast? I host because it's my job. I enjoy it, and it puts food on the table. It pays for my rent. Yes, but I love it. But the podcasting, why do I do it? Because, and why is it after 30? Share ko lang. It's because I was in a mess. I was a mess at the time, diba? Um I was so afraid of turning 30 that I hadn't, figured out what to do with my life yet. Um, and I wanted to call it out. I wanted to deal with it, and I wanted to share my mess with other people who are probably going through the same mess or different other messes so that they know na hindi sila nag-iisa. Alam mo yun? And we're all still figuring life out. And that, I think, is my message, is that, diba, for all those pains, heartbreaks, and whatever, that I experienced, what are they for if not, diba, to hopefully pull out somebody else who fell in the deep well, diba, of those mistakes, because hopefully, diba, yung mga natutunan ko along the way can help someone who's going through the same thing in this season in their lives when they chance upon an episode. So our biggest challenges often represent our biggest opportunities and gifts. Yes, what is your message? If you only had 3 minutes, so yan na lang. If you only had 3 minutes, let's say 3 to 5 minutes to change someone's life with your message, what would you tell him or her?
Be open and just accept things as they are. But when you accept it, understand what's the purpose or the reason why it's in your life. So from there, maybe you can start something, you can take the next step. So it doesn't have to be what you aimed for when you were young. It's okay if it's not the same dream because it would change. Things change, people change, situations change.
Yeah.
But what's consistent is that certain purpose that you had. So just like what I said kanina, parang the task were different. I did different work. I did different tasks. But at the end of the day, it's all because I really love media. I think media is a great way to connect with people, communicate, and also um, tell stories.
Mhm.
Tell stories not only just for narratives, but also through commerce. Like what we
Mhm.
do, it's a shopping content, but it's still telling the brands, the message about the brands. It's telling about why these products are actually something that's helpful for your life. So it's all about relevant stories. So there, it's all about the purpose. It's not the task at hand. So just be open.
Be open. It's all about the purpose and not just the task at hand. I love that. And I also love how you made everything really work for you. Starting from your addiction to shopping. 'Di ba? Nagamit mo siya lahat in this business that you built from the ground up with your husband. Your addiction to shopping, the things that the many new things that you learned when you went corporate, when you did video production also at the time as a host and everything. Parang sabi nga nila, diba, the best leaders are the ones who actually went through it. Diba? Because not you don't only like tell people what to do. Diba? You show them what to do and how to do it because you've done all those things as well. I'm really proud of you and I'm so happy for you.
Hey, Cara.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. And thank you for sharing your experiences with us as well. I hope that our listeners who are tuned in right now will also realize that their mess is, or if not yet in this moment, if you're still in the mess, diba, it will be your message. It's just a way of yun nga finding how to do it and how to make it work in your life and to sit with yourself. Like what Yas said, be kind to yourself, sit with your pain, diba? Deal with it, write it down, and try and figure out bakit may pain and where it's coming from, and then move on from there. Move on from there is the operative ano in that, not just deal with the pain and then you stay there. Diba? Move on from there after you've dealt with it. Yes, this is something I ask the guests before we end the podcast is to share with us, to shout out to the universe the things that you're grateful for today in this moment. What are the things that you're grateful for? Please share with us.
Things that I'm grateful for. We're safe at home right now.
Yeah.
Grateful for work, grateful for the people, for our team as well. Grateful for my husband. Grateful for food. Food on the table.
Yes. Yes, food.
The little things mean a lot.
I agree. Thank you. And I'm grateful for you.
Grateful for you too. Thank you,
Thank you
Cara.
so much. Please share with the listeners also like where can they follow you? If you have anything coming up or like shoppertainment, ano ba ang if so they can also explore it.
Sure. You can follow me on LinkedIn. That's Yasmin Neri-Soyao. You can also check out my Instagram. That's Yas Neri-Soyao. And I also have a podcast coming out. It's called Before You Buy. So watch out for
Perfect.
that with Podcast Network Asia. Ayun.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you.